Welcome back to Covington Communications Contest. I'm your host, Shelby Kyle. We are down to 5 contestants, and tonight we will see who the audience thinks is the most important intercultural concept. Let's introduce our contestants. Hi, I'm Nature of Interpersonal Communication. There are 6 parts that make up who I am. Hey, my name is Perception and Interpersonal Communication, and I have 5 parts. Hello, my name is Cultural Differences. I'm sort of complex, but all 12 parts of me allow for balance. I am yin and yang, dark and light, life and death.
What's up, guys? My name's Principles of Interpersonal Communication, but you can call me Prince, and I got 8 parts.
Yeah, hi, are we recording already? Oh, okay. Well, I'm Principles of Verbal Messages. I have 9 parts, or pieces, or steps, I guess. Alright, contestants, tell us a little about yourself. Interpersonal communication involves interdependent individuals, is inherently relational, exists on a continuum, involves verbal and nonverbal messages, exists in varied forms, and is transactional. Inherently relational means that it takes place in the relationship, affects the relationship, and defines the relationship. Exists on a continuum means a scale from impersonal, as in you don't know each other at all, to interpersonal, as in your significant other. Verbal is any words written or spoken, and nonverbal is everything else, so tone, facial expressions, touch, and silence. Varied forms means like face-to-face, or online, or over the phone, or whatever else. Transactional means it's back and forth, or a rhythm. You are a speaker and a listener, but never at the same time. I said parts earlier, but it's more like stages. Stage 1 is stimulation, where we have interpersonal perception and selective perception, meaning we have selective attention and selective exposure. Stage 2 is organization, where we have proximity, similarity, and contrast. Stage 3 is interpretation evaluation. So based on your own filter, you determine meaning and evaluate what you have sensed. Stage 4 is memory. Your interpretations and evaluations are placed into memory. Stage 5 is recall. So as you go through this process in the future, you may access what you remember. You reconstruct items in a way that is meaningful to you. While I am known as cultural differences, I feel like cultural distinctions better describes who I am. Individualist cultures focus on individual responsibility, goals, and success, while collectivist cultures measure these things in entirety as a group. High-context cultures rely on personal relationships so the message can be vague because of the shared knowledge, as opposed to low-context cultures that emphasize the direct and specific information that is explicit in words. There are cultures that value masculine traits and cultures that value feminine traits. Masculine cultures value material status, strength, assertiveness, and are win-lose conflict strategists. Meanwhile, feminine cultures focus on the quality of life, focus on interpersonal relationships, and are win-win conflict strategists. High and low power distance cultures value who and where power is held. In high power distance cultures, the power is held by a few, so ordinary citizens have less power. Because of this, direct confrontation is negatively viewed. In low power distance cultures, the power is more evenly distributed and equality is consistent with assertive behavior. High ambiguity tolerant cultures are comfortable with things that are foreign to them. Thus, uncertainty is the norm and is expected. These cultures minimize the importance of rules when it comes to relationships and communication. Clear communication and relationship rules are vital for successful interactions. Here's an easy one for you. Low ambiguity tolerant cultures rely on certainty and want the details and specifics. Long-term and short-term orientation cultures are self-explanatory, but I'll tell you anyway. Long-term values the importance of planning and preparing for an important future, while short-term orientation cultures expect quick results and focus mainly on the past and present. Similarly, there are indulgence cultures and restraint cultures. Indulgence cultures focus on fun and enjoying life. They value desire and gratification. They describe health as very good, unlike restraint cultures, which limit gratification and focus on the regulation and reinforcement of social norms.
First things first, interpersonal communication is purposeful. We use it to learn, relate, influence, help, and play. It's a package of signals, of nonverbal and verbal behavior. It involves content messages that focus on the real world, which are external to the speaker and listener. It involves relationship messages that focus on the relationship or connection between individuals. It is a process of adjustment. People have their own verbal and nonverbal communication systems. It is highly important to learn other signals in order to effectively understand them. All interpersonal relationships and communication have a power dimension, such as legitimate power, referent power, reward power, coercive power, expert power, information, or persuasion power. Ambiguous means that messages have more than one meaning. All relationships contain uncertainty, but clarifying tactics can reduce ambiguity. It is punctuated. We divide continuous interactions into smaller pieces so we can understand and remember stimulus, response, and punctuation of communication. And finally, it is inevitable, irreversible, and unrepeatable. You cannot not communicate. Once something is said, that's it. You can't change it. Everything, every single one of us is changing all the time.
Message meanings are in people. So meaning is determined by words and people, meaning they can change with us. Meanings are both denotative, like the dictionary meaning, and connotative, like the emotional meaning speakers and listeners give to the word. Messages can be anonymous, where we don't know who the author is, or they can be anonymous, where we give credit and can even respond. Messages and words can be specific or generalized, which allows for a wide variety of abstraction. Polite messages are respectful, positive, and less direct, while impolite messages are more hostile and direct. Messages can vary in immediacy according to culture. The use of immediacy communicates interest and attention. We do this in many forms, such as giving feedback cues. Lying is a form of deception. When people lie, they are relaying that message. A message's meaning can vary in assertiveness. Assertive messages express real thoughts that enable you to act in your own best interest without infringing on the rights of others. Assertive behavior patterns include openness, volunteering opinions and beliefs, standing up for rights, and making up their mind using evidence and arguments. Why do you think that you are an important concept of intercultural communication? I'm one of the first people that Mr. Covington introduced you to, and for good reason. It is vital to understand me because the way you communicate influences the kind of relationships you will have. I'm really important to know because this is how we process events and interactions, and then we use this information for future events and interactions. It's important to understand how cultures differ and how these differences influence communication. I'm vital to making communication effective and respectful.
Shoot, why am I important? I'm all about the messages and the context.
There are two major signal systems, and those are verbal and nonverbal. Knowing how messages are understood by others benefits you as a communicator.